Paragon City, she's oh so pretty. Superhero boys and girls, yeah, hit me! I'm your hero of the month. I'm your diamond in the rough. Now's the time, now's the hour, now's the season for my power. Hey! I'm your hero. Hey Mom, look! I'm on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. Look at me. I'm on YouTube. Woo! Let's make a deal. I'll stop swimming in your toilet, and you stop pooping in the pool. Wouldn't that be cool? All right. Happy Saturday afternoon or evening or whatever it is where you are. I believe we are ready to go. Let me just get a couple things set here. That's fine. I probably should buy this thing at some point, huh? Okay, so when we last left our intrepid adventurer, we had a render in iClone. Well, we were about to render in iClone. And, you know, lighting and everything was right, and we remembered how to do blend maps to dirty up our sign over there, and, you know, everything was set. But it just looked really bland. When I went to render it, I was just like, ugh. It's just kind of... It's just bland. So, I experimented around and figured out that the quickest and easiest solution to just give it a little bit more life was to use a LUT. An L-U-T. I believe that stands for lookup table. It's essentially a filter. iClone has the ability to apply those filters from right within the software, and it affects a little bit how they play with the image versus if you just do it in post, I think. They seem to look a lot better than when you just add something in post. That could just be my imagination. But anyway, so we applied a LUT to this. I think it was the one called Desperado. Tried a bunch of different ones. This just gave it a little bit more contrast. Kind of washed it out with a little bit of color that seemed appropriate, and I really like the end result image. Now, I rendered one like this, which is just the shot that we did And but then I did a second one with that same filter applied, but I used the cartoon filter. And essentially what the tune filter in iClone does is it kind of does some edge detection and you know, fills in, you know, lines and just, you know, gives it that toony look, and I kind of like it. So I haven't decided which to use yet, if I ever even take a bathroom break on stream, which is the only time that this will even matter. But I'm kind of leaning towards the tune one. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it up as like a poll for the patrons or something and let them choose, but that's the way I'm leaning with it. Okay, so today we're going to dive into a tool called SpaceEngine. And before we do that, I came up with an idea of something to do that's a little bit special as a thank you to patrons and members, but also just to anyone who has been participating in the chat in these first few weeks as we've got things going. There is this little goofy game from Bethesda that is, I guess it's going to fall into the category of casual game, but it's all based around the Fallout themes. And it's kind of fun to play around with and stuff. And if you like the Fallout themes and aesthetic, then, you know, it works for that. But I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to start up a little... Essentially, if you don't know about Fallout, so the main premise, you know, one of the central premises of Fallout is there's been a nuclear war, and before the war... Hey, Phil. Thanks for half watching. I appreciate it. So in the world of Fallout, there is these vaults were built to preserve, well, for the most part, it seems like it was for the privileged. That shouldn't surprise you at all. They're basically nuclear shelters underground. Now, there's a lot more to the story than that. If you're curious about it, you can either play the game or check out the series on Amazon. It kind of goes into some of what those things were about. So I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to start up a little vault in this game and just visit it periodically? But the occupants of said vault will be patrons or people who come by the chat. So we're going to do that. We're going to, let me see. I've got a couple in here that I was experimenting with. We'll get rid of this one. That's fine. And we're going to create a new vault. We got to pick a number here. I mean, we could just spin it up random, but I'm going to make it, we're going to make it vault 999. Why not? Okay, we're going to skip all the tutorial stuff. So essentially, you've got this vault that you're going to build out over time, and you acquire settlers that come in here. And the cool thing is that we can actually rename these people. So that's what we're going to do. Now, a word of caution. Yeah, actually, Phil, I didn't play the game, any of the Fallout games. I watched some Let's Plays up and stuff, but I didn't play any of the games until I saw the series. And that really kind of lit me up to that story world. I really appreciated what they did there. And so I got Fallout 4 and loved it. Like, it maybe more than I would have otherwise. So, yeah, same story for me. So they give you settlers here. We're going to ignore gender because, I mean, I guess the other thing we could do is, like, make it no girls allowed and just throw the women out. That seems a little bit cruel. So instead, we're just going to ignore gender. Because, well, let's face it. Am I going to have an equal number of male and female participants and patrons and whatnot? Yeah, probably not. Let's be real. So, we'll start with this guy. We're going to name him after one of my supporters on Patreon, Pransom Hints. I like that sense of humor. And this one is going to be Shadows 7000. All right. And Logan Britt. Now we're moving on into chat territory. Corantz, who will probably pop by sometime today. He's kind of the he's the in-house trivia master. Phil, would you like to be your YouTube name or your filmmaker screen name? Like, we could make it Bigstrek if you want. Let's do that. We can come back and change it if you say otherwise. This is going to be Blue Horizon. He's been a regular on here as well. And last but not least, Darth Angelus, our friend Damien. All right. Now, the cool thing is, this isn't the hard version that we're playing. So nobody will actually die, like, in a permanent way. You may die, but we can revive you. Oh, and there's somebody else. So we got to figure out then what to do with people, because these are the 7. All right, so we need to quickly build some living quarters. Let's see, that gets us up to 8 dwellers, so that should be fine. We need to build a power generator. We'll do that right under here. We need to build something to produce food. We'll do that right here. And we need to build something to produce water. We'll do that here, just to get us started. So let's see what our attributes are here. Pransom Hints is very strong in the strength attribute, so he is ideal for power. And see how they outfit them in the vault costumes when you bring them in and everything. All right, Shadow 7000 is strongest in P, so they're perfect for water. Let's see. Logan, we'll put him on food. And Corantz is another one strong in A, so we're going to put him on food as well. Bigstrek is pretty neutral, so we will put you on water. There's another A there. Who else we got? And a strong P, and this is the extra person. Okay. Let's see here. We're going to move this person to that. And this is strong in A. So Blue Horizon will go here. We're going to put him in there. This person strong in Darth Angelus is strong in P. Okay. We're kind of cramped. You can only assign 2 people to a job at the current room size, and once we earn some more caps there, we can do that. And we're gonna just have this extra person just hang out outside for a moment. So there's different bonuses that you can get for doing it. These are kind of like built-in little achievements and stuff. There's also quests that we can send settlers on at some point, and you know, there's more to it. We're just going to get the setup of it started today. We've got an extra settler here. This is going to be Future viewer. Can I spell? Future viewer 1 and future viewer 2. All right. And we don't even have enough room for all these folks. So we'll put her in here. Can we add another living quarters? We can. Okay. So we'll put her in the living quarters as well. Now we're already running low on power, so let's upgrade that power room. We're going to use up all our money pretty much. And let's put her on power. That'll leave these two in here. You two just get to know each other. Okay. So we've got it all set up, ready to go. So we're going to be revisiting this in the future. We'll keep track of who pops by the chat. I've got a little text file here where I keep track of that. And over the course of the streams, we'll see how these adventures continue. So we're just going to save and exit that. All right, let's dive into SpaceEngine. I have launched this game one time just to the title screen. So, and actually I don't even think it was on this computer that I did that, because it looks like it's building out some caches and stuff. But this is a title over on Steam. Let's find its page here. We'll glance at this real quick before it starts running. I've had my eye on this for a while, and finally decided to go ahead and pick it up. But this is not a game per se. In the same way that that driving game that we mentioned, I think, a little bit in last stream, the Beam NG, there's no narrative to the game at all. It's just a simulator. And that one is a simulator of essentially car carnage. This is intended to be a what he calls a universe simulator. And he has populated it with a lot of stuff from the known universe. And then he's using some kind of procedural generation to fill out the rest, which is wild. Pretty efficient way to do it. If you're familiar with the game No Man's Sky, that's a sci-fi game that uses a procedurally generated universe, and it's like ridiculously large. You know, almost endless, really. But that's all just, it's all fictional. Every single bit of it's fictional. This one is taking that same tech, but rooting it in, you know, in the real universe. And so, for starters, he's got really high resolution shaders and textures and all that for all the planets of our solar system. Beyond that, I'm not sure. But like a really detailed Earth and moon and all of our planets and all of their moons. Which I'm curious about, but I'm mainly curious to see, you know, because here's my thinking on this thing is, you know, pulling this stuff off all within iClone or Unreal Engine or whatever, there's a lot of work involved, a lot of asset building and whatnot. And I don't shy away from work, but if there's a way to do that more efficiently, that's very attractive to a solo creator like me. Than having to build out, excuse me. Can't be losing my voice yet. You know, building all of that out manually. You know, it's okay, maybe a little bit easier than some types of modeling and texturing, but it's not easy for sure. So it was intriguing to me, the idea of could this thing carry some of that weight? And the idea being, you can animate let's say you've got ships and things like that. You can animate all of that in iClone and just have it be against a transparent background, and possibly use this for your space backdrops. That's the theory. And the way that SpaceEngine works, the basic version, which is what I've got right now, is essentially access to the simulator itself. But there is a Pro version, I think he's calling it. And with the Pro version, there are some additional filmmaking tools and probably some LUTs, some filters. Basically, a lot of filmmaking related bonuses and a unlimited commercial use license. So the basic game, which was, I don't know, $25-$30, does not include that license. You're a bit limited as to what you could use footage with it on. But if you wanted to use it in a commercial scenario, which pretty much anything on YouTube is technically commercial, then that's intriguing. And it's I want to say another $60 US more for the Pro version. So I'm holding off on doing that at this point because I haven't even tried it yet. So let's see what we've got here. And I think this game is still in early access. I'm not sure about that. I'm going to go full screen here because my webcam, even with the new memory, got 128 gigs of RAM in this machine now. You would think that's it, but whatever is interfering with with my webcam is not. It's not a memory issue. We've ruled that out. I haven't done any heavy iClone stuff yet and character creator stuff with the new RAM. I'm curious to see if I notice a little bit of improvement there. But frankly, this machine's been performing pretty darn good. All right, so it says continue. Then we've got planetarium, flight simulator. Let's check out the settings here. See if it tells us anything about what graphical settings it put us at. Okay, visual style. Okay. That may be worth experimenting with at some point, but it looks like a lot of different controls over how things look. Nickname. We'll go ahead and put our name in there. Interface skin, okay. Units of measure. Okay. The camera. Got HDR, manual, and auto. Can adjust the exposure. I'm not sure what these settings under camera would mean related to different types of objects. We're going to leave those at the default. Ambient lighting you can bring up. Okay, there's a lot of nice settings in there. Graphics. All right, it's defaulted us to high. I think I'm going to leave it at that for the purposes of the stream. But it's nice to know that we've got at least one higher level there that we could do. I don't think that this basic version, I don't think does rendering like built in. So you would need some kind of tool like OBS or Fraps or something like that to capture your footage. I'm not sure if the Pro version has a frame-by-frame render option or not. That would be neat if it had the ability to render it out a frame at a time like iClone does, So you're developing in real time, but when you render, it's frame at a time. It really locks it in with nice quality. We'll have to find out about that. All right, we can run it full screen or windowed. I'll just keep it windowed for now. That's fine. Add some perspective. All right, sound effects and music. All right. And then the controls. Ah, video capture settings. So there is some kind of video capture. I don't think we'll try that on the stream, because last time I tried to do video capture while streaming, the computer balked at that a bit. So we'll that may be something I experiment with offline and show you the results later. Switch to full screen. Tab is a log. Universe map is F1. Solar system chart. Okay. There's quite a bit of controls to learn here. I wonder if it has some kind of tutorial. Good Lord, it has a lot of controls. Although it seems like a fair bit of those are adjusting visual settings. Huh, you can even go into wireframe mode. That's crazy. Okay. So that's settings. All right, we're just going to take a chance here and just hit continue. Hey, Damien, welcome. All right, let's just take the first option here. I don't know what continue means. Let's find out. I'm assuming I don't need to hear the audio on this, but I've got my headphones handy if I have to pop them on. Okay. Just an open screen there. All right, so there's basically just some music going on. All right, so no tutorial. Okie dokie. Well, all right, so left clicking and holding turns the camera. Ooh, little lens flare going on there. That's cool. Wow, that star map is nice, huh? Or starscape. What's the term for that? Big nebula going on. So this is definitely a Saturn-like planet, but that sure doesn't look like, I think, what we can actually see from Saturn. And the surface doesn't look quite like Saturn. I wonder how we can tell where we are. Let's see what some of these things are here. Main menu. Okay. We've been there. Information. Interface brief, interface full. Okay, so that's toggling something. Does it tell us what we're looking at or something? Not really. Okay, what's this one here? Wiki. Okay. Universe map. That doesn't do anything. Solar system browser. Yeah, it could be the Milky Way. Does it go all the way around? Oh man, you can go all the way around with the camera. That's dizzying. Yeah, we're right in the middle of something. Not sure what that is. There, another nebula over there. All right, solar system browser does nothing. Star browser. Okay. It's like these things aren't populated with info yet. Maybe that's info I have to fill in as we go. Event finder. So like planetary or star alignment, eclipses. Okay. I imagine you got to know your way around a bit to even know how to search properly for that. Find object. Okay. There are a lot of objects here. Holy cow. Proxima. Okay, so you can click on something in this list, and there is a go-to button. Man, it's a massive, massive list. So I imagine getting to know this and then searching is going to be the most efficient way through a list like that. All right, so what was the one that we saw? Proxima. Is that Proxima Centauri? Is that what the full name of that is? So let's just try hitting go to and see what happens. Okay, oh. Wow. That's a little bit different travel speed than No Man's Sky, yeah? If you've ever played it. Can take quite some time to get around in that. All right, what is right click? Okay, right click rotates around something. Wow, you can move pretty fast. So it's pretty efficient with its render. All right, so left mouse keeps your position fixed but moves the view. And right click rotates around something. Okay, so even though I don't have the mouse pointer on this star, it's still using that as the basis for my rotation. I was wondering if I like picked some distant thing, if it would try to rotate around that. That would be pretty crazy. Excuse me. Wild. Okay. Let's continue to look at the menu here. Spacecraft Manager. Okay, to pilot ships, switch to the simulator mode. And I've got a few different... Oh, look at that. The Challenger shuttle. The Intrepid. Nearest body is the moon. So I wonder if it would take us there. We're going to wait a minute before we dive into that. Let's see what else is down here. Journey log. Okay, so it's going to keep track of places we visit. Let's test that. If we go back to the star browser. No, not the star browser. Which one was it? Oh, look at that. There's the solar system browser. It pops up in the upper left there. So Proxima is the star, and then they must have named the planets Proxima D. So if we... How do we go to it? Go to. Wow. Moves really fast. All right, so that is Proxima C. Has a little bit of a ring. So based on the light, the star must be right there. And the lighting is nice. Okay. So that's the solar system browser. Now if we want to find an object again, wonder if they have any of the Sagittarius. Isn't Sag-A like, isn't that like, that's like one of the really biggies? Is that the one I'm thinking of? It's like a really, really, really large star. Or it's a black hole. That's the name for the black hole at the center of the Milky Way. Okay, and I'm using the mouse scroll wheel. And it seems to be adjusting... Well, it says it's adjusting velocity. So there's my velocity at 10 light years a second, but I don't see any signs that we're moving. Oh, that is cool. That's really trippy. Wow, look at the view from here. Incredible. Whoa. Blue main sequencer star S18. Can we go to it, I wonder? Star S18. Huh. Double clicking doesn't make you move or anything. So I wonder how, if you were to pick an object in the night sky, I wonder how you would be able to just jump to it. I guess we could search for star S18. It's a little bit inefficient. Maybe there's a better way to do it with some proper controls. Wow. Fantastic. Okay. Quite gorgeous. Now, let's look at the journey log. And there you go. There's everywhere that we visited so far, everywhere that we did a go-to command on. So, and you can select one of those. So if we want to go back to the first thing that we visited, we click go-to from here. And it'll take us right there. That's handy. So you can roam pretty freely, and you'll know that you'll get back to, you can always go back, assuming that there's no limit on the length of this log. You could just jump back to wherever you went, and there it goes. It adds it into the log again. That's handy to know. All right, locations. Featured locations. Volcano sunrise, volcano sunset, hazy mountains, triple crescent. Okay, so these are just places that they've bookmarked for you to jump to, and then you can create your own as well. So when you find something, you know, worth revisiting or worth sharing, you can add it here. It'll put a thumbnail. So just for the sake of experimenting, let's add one here. This location, paste from clipboard. Oh, okay. That's our options. So let's add this location, and then we can name it whatever we want. Red dwarf. Now, if we click share on that, is that a social media share? Is it internal? Let's find out. Okay. So you can copy the URL to the clipboard, BB code for forums, HTML code, or script code. That's probably like a JavaScript embed or something. So it's, the sharing mechanism isn't built into the program. It's just giving you a link that you can share where you like. Okay, so the SAG-A, that was the center of the galaxy. It was really weird the way it was, when I was trying to rotate around it, it was almost like the black hole was moving, but I don't think that's what was really happening. Very strange. Okay, so featured locations. A whole bunch more just loaded in here. Or maybe I was just scrolled all the way down. I was. There's a lot. Good grief. Sunrise in hell. That must be on the surface of a star or something. Molten moon. Pluto. Neptune, nice. Europa. So some are within our solar system and some are way out there. Microquasar. Let's do one of the quasar ones. Those are fascinating to me. Where was that one? Crab pulsar. That's not a quasar, I guess. And then there's a black hole one too. We're going to try that later. Wow. Wow, look at that this ringed light effect. What do they call that? Is that a corona? Is that what that is? Or some other name with core in it, perhaps? Phenomenal. Dude, this thing's just out in the middle of nowhere. It appears. Oh, maybe it's just loading in? Or was it simulating my eyes adjusting? It is. It's adjusting the light so it doesn't overwhelm. But when you look out here into the sky, it takes a second. That's actually pretty clever. That's pretty clever. Okay. Where's that featured list again? Let's check out the black hole. Okay, so it's just lens flare. Okay. Wow. That looks like something out of that Interstellar movie, doesn't it? It's very similar to the look they gave the black hole in that. Wow. Man, there's a lot of red stars near this, huh? And a couple really biggies. Orange dwarf. White main sequence star. Amazing. Yeah, multiple types of lens flare going on this. It's really nicely done. And it all renders very quick. I've got an RTX card in here. It's one of the lower end RTX cards, but so I don't know how well this will perform on other things, but man, oh man, it's nice. All right, let's continue to explore the menu here. Okay, so we've got, you can take a high resolution screenshot. So let's get a little of that nice lens flare there. And let's try that. Okay, the default resolution is 8,000 by 4,000. Holy cow. Wow, you can even do it as DDS. Wonder why you... I guess there's certain applications you'd want to do that for. But JPEG, PNG, TGA, TIFF. So very high quality formats. Tile resolution, 1024. Landscape LOD. Okay, and for the screenshot, it's going to set graphics to maximum. Start recording. Open folder. I don't know what this button does. All right, let's try it. Wow. All right. There's our file. It's supposedly 8,000 by 4,000, but it's only 5 megs. That's a very nicely done JPEG. Let's just open it up in image software and see how she looks. It is 8,000 by 4,000. That's a great quality image. It's so big. Wow. So yeah, if you're a fan of photo mode, this game delivers. Let's save. We'll keep that open so we remember where that's stored. Okay, so that's still image. Display. Okay, that just pops us to the display settings. In a game like this, or in a tool like this, it is nice that you've got quick access to that, because somebody who's really gotten to know this and, you know, wants to really tweak things, to have that handy. You don't have to go, you don't have to back all the way out to the main menu to get to video settings. That's a nice feature. This is another shortcut to settings. Wonder what this teeny little button is here. Huh. It's like a pin? I'm not sure. And then down here, we've got some controls. Increase and decrease velocity. These are probably going to come into play when we're in the space flight mode. Set the current time. Okay, so it reset. Huh. I'm not sure what the significance of... Oh, there we go. There's the time. So there's date and time. Wait a minute. Does that mean that it'll simulate going back in time? Or forward in time? So if we change the date here... Oops. Accelerate time. Okay, so we were frozen in a moment in time, I guess. Set normal time speed. We were looking at a still this whole time. This animates it based on time, and you can speed it way up. So that is about 3 hours per second. I'm not sure how to leap like way forward. Like I would want to jump forward like 5,000 years. But as soon as I try to type in here, it takes something away. Yeah. So I'll have to fiddle with that. Or reverse time. So now it's going backwards. And then this is reset time. Okay. That's interesting. And I wonder if the simulator does something, how it deals with that. Does it actually try to like simulate the expansion of the universe? Does it, what happens, like Phil said, if you go back to time setting of 0? Hard to believe that this thing could do all of that. That's a lot of number crunching. But even if you can only play with it in this way, it's still pretty neat. All right, so velocity, spacecraft mode, aircraft mode. Aircraft mode must be if you're in the atmosphere of a planet. Go to object, land on object. I don't think that would work. Land on object, I don't think that would work well for this particular object, would it? Center object. Oh, because that's what I have selected. That must be the last thing I clicked on. So, okay, so left click and release is to select an item. If you have nothing selected, then no text appears in the upper left there. So you know when you've got something that is selectable. So if I pinpoint a star here, wow. These things are all selectable objects. So let's just pick something random here. This red star. A binary red giant. Now if we go down here and say go to. Okay. We're starting to get a feel for how you move around in this. And it says it's binary. It's really hard to tell what's going on with that thing. I mean, binary would imply that there's like two of them close together, right? How can I get even closer to this thing is the question. Should we try to land on it? Let's do it. Surely not. Yeah. I don't think we're moving at this point. No. Okay. All right, let's go to spacecraft mode. Okay, so what we were in is called free mode. And that's where you can just select something, go to it. Huh. Those are fairly close together. Select something and go to it. Whoa. And yeah, it's correcting the lighting for us so that we can actually see it. But if we look away, whoa. Amazing. I'll bet you that's adjustable behavior if you like actually wanted to, you know, get a closer look at it without it adjusting the light. That's probably a setting that you can tweak. All right, this one doesn't look, the outside rendering in this doesn't look quite as detailed as some of the others, but maybe that's to be expected. Or maybe that really is what that kind of star would look like. I don't know, but look at this cluster. Man. All right, we've got a menu over on the right here we're going to take a quick look at too. Spacecraft, galaxies, galaxies disabled. Okay, so these are toggles. Stars disabled. Clusters, that's a cluster, okay. Nebulae, planets. So you can, just like on, I don't know what this is just like, but you can disable various features. Get rid of comet tails, get rid of planets. You can toggle them on and off. It looks like constellations are by default not enabled. That might be more interesting when we're in our solar system. Orbits. How cool. Although that orbit looks like it's going through the sun, doesn't it? That's not a good path. All right, so orbits, markers, labels. Okay. Probably only for near field stuff. Although there's something labeled 4 there, isn't there? Planetary barycenter. So is that one of the planets of this star? It is. There's its orbit. All right, let's get a look at that. We can go to. Okay, so one thing that I don't know how to do yet is, okay, it brings us to this default distance from the object. How do I get even closer? I don't think I've stumbled upon that yet. Velocity vector, celestial grids, selection pointer. Boy, that one's really bright, isn't it? So, like, you would think the mouse wheel, but that doesn't seem to do it. We can rotate, or we can pan. How do we zoom? Holding the middle mouse wheel button is the same, it seems, as left click. Except, when you hold the middle mouse wheel and move, when you release it, it will return you to what you were looking at. So here's where we are. If I left click and drag away, it stays away. And then I can left click and drag back. But if I click and hold the middle mouse wheel and look around, when I release it, it takes me back to where I was looking. That's good to know. Aha! Left and right. Left and right mouse button, and you can zoom or zoom out. Just pulling the mouse towards you or away from you. Whoops, what happened there? Okay. That's what we wanted. Okay, so both mouse buttons together. That's the missing control I was looking for. Very good. Okay, so let's go back to our log. What was one of the ones we had wanted to get a closer look at but couldn't? Maybe the black hole? Okay. Yeah, so you can get wherever you want to. Now, there must be a way to also rotate the view, because we're like at a kind of a weird angle here. Let's turn on some time movement. All right, so let's keep experimenting with controls here. So both mouse buttons, that's our zoom. Right mouse button is rotate. Oh, there we go. We can actually rotate, I think, in any direction. It's not quite as precise a control. There doesn't seem to be any way to control. Okay, I guess if you do it right. That takes some getting used to. The way you have to move the mouse while the right mouse button is down, you can eventually adjust the angle the way we're talking about. Yeah. And then both mouse buttons get us in close. All right, so let's try Control and Alt with some of these and see if they change anything. All right, Control doesn't seem to do anything for any of them. How about Alternate? No. How about Shift? Okay, Shift and just the left mouse button turns it into a zoom. So that's the same effect as pressing left and right together. Shift and right does nothing. And Shift and both is still just zoom. Okay. All right, let's go to our solar system. So to do that, we want to... Where is it? I don't know these icons yet. There we go. Find object. Let's find Earth. Okay, so we could jump straight to the moon. We could jump to Earth. I'm not quite sure I understand the distinction between all these yet, but we do want Earth, I believe. Wow. That is a really good image. This is one of the ones that's the extra high res. All right, let's see if we can get this oriented right. So, how would we do this? We're kind of looking at it sideways, I think, because there's North America and on the left and South America on the right. How would we tilt it? There we go. All right, so let's get some time going here. Oh, time is going. But it's going probably at close to real-time speed, so let's speed it up. There we go. Now we can see some rotation. So that should mean we're going to try our hold the mouse wheel. Yeah, there's our sun. Wonder if we can see the moon anywhere here. Is that the moon? Yeah, just an itty-bitty dude. All right, so let's go into spacecraft mode. How do we do that? Flight simulator? Flight simulator is in the alpha stage, work in progress. We will consider ourselves warned. Okay. I feel like I'm floating here. My ship. Other ships. Alright, let's just grab the Intrepid. Okay. So I guess that's... I'm assuming that that is one of the Apollo craft on the moon. I'm seeing a constellation there. Is constellations turned on? Oh, wow. That is so cool. Sorry if I'm making you a little dizzy there. Excuse me. Okay, well, I'm thinking, I'm second guessing my choice of the Intrepid as our spacecraft of choice. I don't see this one as being the best choice for deep space travel. And it feels like we're kind of stuck here. We can't rotate in the same way as we could in free mode. All right, so let's go to Spacecraft Manager. How about the Challenger? Go to... Whoa! Okay, That's clearly not the Space Shuttle Challenger. So what is the point of these? Did they actually use those names for lunar landing craft and I'm just ignorant? Are there any of these that aren't just sitting on the moon somewhere? We know the Eagle, right? That's Neil Armstrong. The Eagle has landed kind of thing. Okay, an LM. Hello. How stupid am I? Yeah, LM. Lunar module. Okay. So I wonder then, there's a build button, which is interesting. So let's get off the surface of the moon. Get out here in Earth orbit. And then let's go to our spacecraft manager. And what if we hit build? All right, build. Real or SpaceEngine. Okay, there's nothing under real yet. Okay, we could do the Apollo 11 Eagle. I think we've ruled that one out. SpaceEngine ones, so these must be fictitious. Starship Basic, Starship Science. Let's go for it. Whoa! Check that out. Oh, what happened to it? Did I rotate away? I think I rotated away. I was trying to select it. Okay, take control. Just wanted to get a little closer look at it. Pretty cool design there, SpaceEngine. Pretty cool. All right, I can't tell what the front is for sure. Okay, that's got to be the front, right? No. That is some new tech. Is that supposed to be an engine back there? This doesn't look like Star Trek. I don't know what to do. All right, so if we select it and say take control, which we did once before, I guess. Then we've got some pretty interesting controls here. Yeah, I can see that. Looking like the Expanse a bit. Okay, this is going to be stuff that for people who are a little bit more educated about space flight. Like, I've heard these terms, but I'm not confident I know what prograde and retrograde mean. Switch view. Kill rotation. Okay, I'm using WASD, and that's moving this, kind of. I'm not sure what it means. We've got a warp option here. We've got a dock option. We've got some controls here related to, looks like pitch and yaw. Okay. Okay, I left clicked and dragged and it started to turn. If I do that a little faster, does it go faster? Yeah. Okie dokie. We don't want to warp into the Earth. That would be... Green Day's album American Idiot was released 20 years ago today. That does not seem that long ago. Okay, left click and drag does seem to influence the direction we're pointing. And I assume that that green cursor there is kind of where we're pointed. So if we do... Okay, I'm pressing W and I saw the thrusters go way up. Just started first grade when that album came out. What did you think of their more recent one? I can't remember what they released a single for it, and it was a really different sound on that one particular single. I can't. The title of it is eluding me right now, but I kind of liked it. All right, so warp. Main engines 2. We are moving, but it seems like it's doing a pretty realistic thing. That, you know, we're not just gonna snap our fingers and zip across the galaxy here. Flight assist. Flight assist is on. All right, that's moving without my involvement. Main engine's 100 now. And we're pointed back at the Earth. Houston, we have a problem. Unless we're pointed away from the Earth. Do any of you know modern theoretical spacecraft enough to know, is this the butt or is this the butt? I really do not know. Yeah, I say new Courants, but it was, it's probably 2 years ago now. Maybe a year ago. Yeah, they released a single. It actually was pretty big on the radio, and his voice was run through some kind of an effect. Billy Joe's voice was run through some kind of effect, and I mean, it hardly sounded like him at all. And a different style of song from them, too. It was good, and the rest of the album wasn't anything like that, which is one of my gripes with music over time is artists where there's one really good single and then you buy the album and it's like, It's like, all right, not everybody can be Led Zeppelin. But the rest of it sounded like pretty much like normal Green Day. But that one single was really unusual. Okay, I have no idea what's happening now. Shall we try a different ship? Maybe one that is not quite so exotic looking, so we actually know. So we actually know. Oh, we can destroy it. Is it going to just make it disappear, or is it going to... Yeah. The Beam NG driver in me was kind of hoping for a horrific disaster of some kind, but 'twas not to be. All right, SpaceEngine, Aliens, Fire Dragonfly. Is that a ship from one of the Aliens movies? Wasn't theirs like the Nautilus or something like that? It didn't have Dragonfly in it. Let's try it. Take control. Ooh. Have you guys ever seen an old sci-fi series called Lex, I Worship His Shadow? No major stars in the main cast, but it had cameos by the likes of Malcolm McDowell, Rutger Hauer. But it was this weird sci-fi series. It's on Amazon right now. It's weird. They have a ship that looks a lot like this. The front of it looks like the eyes of a fly or a dragonfly or something. And this ship is called the Lex, the most destructive force in 2 universes. Yeah, Lex was weird. All right, so clearly, if this is at all Lex inspired, then this is the front. It's facing away from Earth. So, how do we fly it is the question. All right. We've got the main engines way up. I guess we don't need thrusters. Boost exponent. We're going to just max it out. We want to get out of here. Except I can't rotate around anymore. Huh. I better check sound. Is sound telling us anything? No. The sound is just Cinemax music. Okay. Flight assist? Did it take us inside the ship? What's it doing? That's not good. We can't see anything now. Yeah, when he said this part's in alpha, he wasn't kidding, was he? I don't understand. We could still zoom, but we've lost our universe somehow. Okay, now we can rotate. So it seems like it didn't want to let us rotate unless we weren't moving. If we crank the engines up again, do we lose the ability to rotate? Yeah. Okay, so that's a limitation I didn't know about. Main engine's got to be down to 0. It's kind of going a little wonky on me here. Huh. All right. I'm a little bit frustrated by the spaceship mode. Maybe it could just be ignorance. There is a hyper jump button here, but like the whole view has gone weird. So let's go back to the main menu. Let's try out the planetarium. We haven't looked at that yet. Hey, there's a tutorial for this. Cool. Maybe this is what we were supposed to start. Maybe this is what we were supposed to start with. All right, interface. Welcome to SpaceEngine. Do we have sound? No. All right, so I'll just read it to you because it's pretty tiny text. Welcome to SpaceEngine. This tutorial will introduce you to the SpaceEngine's interface. Yeah, this is what we were supposed to start with. I'm a dummy. This is our planet Earth. The table in the upper left corner displays various information about the planet, like radius, length of day, gravity, and so on. I hadn't even looked at all that detail. That's cool. If you left-click on any visible object on the screen, SpaceEngine will select it and displays information about it. We figured that out, didn't we? Click on any star now. Boom. Now you can read info about the newly selected object. Tiny rotating arrows indicate which object is selected. It is called selection pointer. Select the Earth again by left-clicking on it. Now look at these toolbars. They have plenty of useful options, some of which has hotkeys. Hover the mouse cursor over any icon to see the hint about its function. Okay. Well, we kind of stumbled our way into some of the how-to here, didn't we? The left toolbar, also called the main toolbar, gives you access to all basic functions. Clicking any icon opens a special dialog window. Click, for example, this blinking icon. Okay. This is the wiki tool. Physical properties, blah, 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 blah. Click the physical tab. Okay, that's kind of cool. Diameter. The amount of oblateness. I didn't think I would use that word this week. Effective temperature. Approximate lifetime. Internal structure. Pretty cool. You may rotate the planet by holding the left or right mouse button. Oh, in the wiki window. Okay, so you can rotate it here with the left or right mouse button. Okay. Wiki also informs you if the selected object is real or not. SpaceEngine has thousands of real objects and billions of procedurally generated ones. Okay. Click the gear icon. This opens the settings menu. Lots of configuration. We stumbled our way into that too. That's good. The bottom left, also called the navigation toolbar, controls movement and time. It has useful options such as flying automatically to a selected object. That's that go-to button we liked. Changing free flight speed, and setting a date. All icons on this toolbar act immediately. They don't open dialog windows. Okay. It says about setting a time, but I was having trouble with that. Although, look at that. The date right now is 2018. The bottom right toolbar, also called the camera toolbar, has options to change the overall scene brightness and limiting stellar magnitude of galaxies, stars, and planets. Okay, remember that star that we encountered where the light was overwhelming and then you look away and it would adjust? Down on the bottom right is probably where we could have addressed that issue. And the right toolbar, also called the filters, has an options to hide and show some types of objects and information, which we found our way into that. So cool. For example, this icon toggles the displaying of constellations. There's a shortcut key for that, which is X. Click it again to make them hide. There are many other overlays. Okay, cool. You may hide or show toolbars at any time. Unlock the main toolbar by ticking the small pin icon. Hey! We were wondering what that was. So each one of these has one of those little pin icons. So you can make them stay or let them go away as they will. That's cool. Now if you move the mouse cursor away from the toolbar, it will hide itself. Oh. So by default, they're pinned. But if you click it so it shows something that's the shape of a pin, then it won't be pinned. That makes sense, right? You want it to show the pin so it won't be pinned, but then if you make the pin go away, then it'll be... You get the idea. Lock the toolbar by clicking the pin icon now. We already did. Okay, good. The two bottom toolbars have a half hide or half lock option. Tick the pin of the navigation toolbar and see what will happen. Okay, so now if you move your mouse away, it will hide only the bottom half. Ah, that's cool. Now hide it completely by making it show a pin. You can, you get the idea. Oh, okay, that's it. All right, basic movement. This would have been good to kick things off with, wouldn't it? This tutorial will teach you basic controls and navigation. You may look around using the mouse by left drag. Hold the left mouse button and move the mouse. Yep. Did you notice the sun? Turn around to see it. The sun is highlighted with the selection pointer, which we viewed in the previous tutorial. Let's look back at Earth. Okay. Using the right drag, you can move the camera around Earth in an orbital fashion. You may do that at any time to explore an object from all sides. By dragging the mouse vertically while holding both left and right, you can zoom in and zoom out. We didn't do too bad. Wow, that's really good detail. All right. Now we will learn other basic navigation actions in SpaceEngine. Center and go to. Okay. Did you spot the moon? Rotate the view until it appears on the screen. The moon is highlighted with the selection pointer. Okay. Now press the C key on the keyboard to move the moon to the exact center of the screen. Okay, that does it without zooming to it. This is the center command. Use it anytime when you want to find a selected object that you've lost. Try to select any star and center on it. Okay, how about this guy? This looks like a galaxy. That's Andromeda. Cool. C for center. Okay. Now it's time to go to the moon. Select the moon and hit the G key. So that's the shortcut for go to. That's handy to know. We've got the moon. We hit G. We are flying to the moon now. Look as it slowly becomes bigger. You may press G again to fly faster. Okay, this is the most useful command in SpaceEngine. It's called goto, and you will use it a lot. You may notice that it works only for the selected object, just like the center command. Okay? Orbit the moon with the right mouse button and drag until you see the Earth. Where is the Earth? Ah, there it is. It's a really good quality image. It's nice. Notice that orbiting as well as zooming with right and left now works relative to the moon. This is because the goto command binds your controls to the new object, the moon. The name of the currently bound object is displayed on the navigation toolbar following moon. Okay? You may bind to a different object manually by selecting it and pressing Shift F. Okay, so just clicking on it doesn't change this indicator at the bottom following moon. It's not bound. But if we press Shift F, now we're following Earth. Now you may orbit the Earth with a right click and drag. Now let's return back to Earth. Click the blinking icon on the navigation toolbar. It works like a double press of G. Okay, so this is what we were using ourselves. So that's the same as double tapping G. Now we will learn the simple but very useful tool, the Solar System Browser. Hit F2 or click the icon on the main toolbar to open it. All right. This shows all the stars, planets, and moons in the current planetary system. Left click on any planet to select it. Let's do Jupiter. Now you can use the center and go to commands on the selected planet. Try this now. Select Venus and go to it by pressing the G key. All right. Perfect. You can navigate the solar system browser like folders in your computer. Double click on any planet which has moons. Take Saturn, for example. You can also click the satellites icon which appears on the planet's cell when you hover the mouse over it. That's the satellites thing. Okay. But we can double click on it and now it shows the moons. That is cool. You can select any by left clicking to go back, double click on the parent object or click the back icon. Note that you may right click instead of double clicking. It is easier and faster. All right, let's check out Titan. You've entered the list of satellites. You can select any by left clicking to go back, double click on the parent object or click the back icon. This is all you need for navigation in the planetary system. It's easy. Now, select Io, the moon of Jupiter. Okay. Note that the selection pointer is now pointing to Io. Now fly there using the go to command. You may also click the arrow. This is a go-to button for that specific thing. All right, but we're going to do it with the shortcut, GG. This is Io. Right-click and drag to see its glowing night side. Because it's volcanic, right? Oh, it says that. That's cool. Close the solar system browser by hitting F2 or pressing the icon on the main toolbar. Okay. Now let's go to Saturn. You can find it by using the solar system browser or by the search tool. To open it, press F3. Click the lens. Let's say Saturn, right? Oop. Let's go to Dattern. Saturn is now selected. Use the go-to command as we have learned before. Perfect. To consolidate the knowledge, go to Mars now. Find it using either tool. We'll do this tool and Mars and go. This is a proper tutorial. Yeah, definitely a Uranus joke is in our future. There are more non-planet planets than I even knew about. I know about Eris, I think. There's one called Make. Or Maki. Frigid, airless... What did it say? Frigid, airless micro-aquaria. Fascinating. All right. Now you know how to navigate. Next tutorial will teach you how to fly manually in any direction you want. Hey! What a concept to actually learn how to... So you're saying we should learn how to use it and then use it? We have to read the manual? This tutorial will teach you the advanced movement controls. You know the basic controls. How about a quick trip outside the solar system? Okay, find the planet TRAPPIST-1G. Then press the G key once and enjoy the interstellar flight. Okay. So we're going to find TRAPPIST-1G. And press OK. Then click G once. Okay, it's not moving terribly slow. Is it? Okay, it's sped up on its own. I didn't do anything there. Whoa, you have reached the alien icy planet almost 40 light years away from Earth. Now we will learn the free movement. The go-to command allows you to quickly reach the desired object, but exploring it is more enjoyable using a game-like free movement. Press the W key to fly forward. Release the key to stop moving, okay? You may move in multiple directions. W and S forward, backward. A and D left and right. R and F to fly up and down. Okay. Forwards and R and F. That's pretty logical. I don't know why that was so elusive before. Press W, and then S, press A, and then D. Press, oh. Hey, guess what I discovered? E and Q rotate. That's cool. I accidentally hit the wrong key and discovered that. You may change the flight direction with the mouse. Press W to fly forward and simultaneously rotate the view with the left drag. Now we're talking. In addition to the movement keys, remember these two, Q and E. Hey, rotate. Yeah. Now try to reach this yellow waypoint. Adjust your velocity with the mouse wheel or plus and minus. Oh. Good. Proceed to the next waypoint. This is a good tutorial. Gotta say. Oh. But look at us. We can rotate now. Oops. Okay. 4. Remember the Q and E keys. Okay. Slow down. I'm trying to, dude. Oh. I got my velocity way up with the mouse wheel. Okay. We are on the surface now. Note that if you hit the ground, your velocity will be reset to 100 meters per second. Fly to the green waypoint ahead and explore the terrain there. Explore the planet a bit. Depending on your computer speed, terrain can take a while to load. Seems like we're doing all right. Perfect. Now you're a skilled pilot. Yeah, not so fast there. Free flight is easy and exciting, isn't it? Yes. Now let's return to space. Just fly into the sky away from the planet, or use the R key to fly straight up. Let's do that. Great, we're in space again. You may also use the go-to command to fly to a default distance from the planet. Okay, that's that distance we talked about with some of the stuff we found on our own, that it seemed like there was a preset distance. But this is how you do it after that. You can land on a planet automatically, press the Shift-G key, or use this highlighted icon on the navigation toolbar. I think the only time we tried to land was on a star or a black hole. We didn't actually ever try it with the planet, which, again, colored me stupid. Okay. Another way to land on a planet or exit space is using the zoom. Hold both the left and right mouse buttons and drag the mouse vertically. Notice that this works with the currently bound object. Okay. And you can really control that well, too. You could control the speed, so if you needed footage of liftoff. Yeah, there's a lot of control there. You can explore anything with it, not only planets. Simply increase your velocity to some unimaginable value and fly to interstellar space. Seriously? Okay, you may do that quickly by holding the control key while rotating the mouse wheel. Oh. Now set the velocity of 10 light years per second. With this velocity, you can explore the galaxy. You may approach any star and enter its planetary system. For example, fly to Betelgeuse. It is highlighted with the selection pointer. Aim the camera towards it and press the W key to fly forward. Okay, this is awesome. This is what we were looking for. Think about this like if you turned off all the interface stuff and you just wanted to capture a really nice star field, like with real depth to it. This would be a way to do that. And it would be totally original looking, like it wouldn't just look like some generic starfield thing. So remember this speed, 10 light years per second. You could probably go even faster, but like if you wanted to simulate warp, I bet you could really ramp it up. Rotate the mouse wheel to slow down so as to not miss the star. If you miss the star, just fly back. Oh, I think we missed the star. You're almost there. Slow down using the mouse wheel. I stopped completely so we don't miss it. Whoa. We really got to slow down. You know what we should do? We should hit C to center it. There we go. Wow. That's so cool looking. And we flew right through it. This is Betelgeuse. That is how you say that, right? I always pronounced it Betelgeuse when I was growing up, reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I had no idea. Apparently it's Beetlejuice, right? Just like the Michael Keaton. One of the brightest stars in the constellation of Orion, a red supergiant. It looks lumpy because of the very weak gravity on its surface, which is barely maintaining the gas in place. Ah. Sorry, Beetlejuice. Let's center again. I flew right past it. Sorry, I flew past it. Oh, can't we just hit double G to just go? Okay. Now look at the filters toolbar. Click the blinking icon to show the orbital paths. Orbits of planets will help you with visual navigation. Planets are shining dots at the bright ends of lines. Now try to reach any planet by manually flying towards it. Okay. I feel like I'm going, my speed is set really high. Which planet should we go to? Figured one of these outer ones. They're tiny though. All right, let's go to this one. Center it, fly towards it. Okay, now we're cooking. And we flew past it. GG. Whoa. Perfect. Now you know how to explore the universe in the free flight mode. Next tutorial will teach you how to manipulate time flow in SpaceEngine. That will be cool. Time control. Click the blinking element. Oh, the blinking element is the date bar. Okay. Displays the current simulation date and time. It may differ from the real date because in SpaceEngine you are free in space and time. The buttons below the date bar controls the time flow. You can speed up and slow down the time, reverse it, and reset it to the current date based on the system clock. You can speed up the time to see space bodies in movement. Press the L key or this button twice to speed up the time flow to 10x. Okay, I did. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Something's stuck. It's not accepting my button press. And it's not accepting the shortcut key either. Okay, that's velocity. We don't want to mess with that. Yeah, that's weird. Something is stuck. Okay, now we're cooking. I think that part of the tutorial might be a little broken, but we're getting the idea here. I want to see the orbits of these moons. There we go. That is very cool. Ah, that's true. I shouldn't say it. I shouldn't say it 3 times. That's right. I think I said it like 7 times. Have you seen the sequel that's out? That is pretty slick. It looks like fun. It does look like fun. Speaking of the 3 times thing, I caught a YouTube video the other day talking about this American television show, and I can't remember which show it was. It might have been Community or something like some kind of comedy show. And it basically showed how they put a Beetlejuice joke in the show that took like years to complete. Essentially, in like the first season of the show, one of the characters, just in passing conversation, mentions the name of Beetlejuice. Well, then a season later, some other character, or maybe it's the same character, but basically the name is said a second time. And then yet several, like another whole season later, somebody, that character says the name for the 3rd time. And right after they say it for the 3rd time, in the distant background of the shot is him walking by. It's nothing, no attention is called to it. It's just in the background. And it looks just like, I don't know if it was actually Michael Keaton, but definitely, unmistakably, Beetlejuice just all of a sudden just goes walking by right after they said it the 3rd time. I love that kind of stuff, man. I know, right? I love that kind of stuff. Easter eggs and that type of thing. I mean, that's just... So many people would have missed that, right? So that's part of the dedication, I feel like, is... You know, this isn't for... The whole audience is not going to get this. There's so many reasons why people could miss it. But those who do... Oh, how rewarding it must have been, you know? So... All right, what else do we have to learn in this game? I've got my webcam back on, so I don't know how well it'll... Yeah, look at that. It's blacking out. So we were in the planetarium tutorial. So camera and these other things are next. I'm going to go ahead and see how quick the camera tutorial is, because that is one that's of interest to me particularly. This will teach you the advanced camera options, photographic modes, and zoom. Did you notice the thin lines near Jupiter's crescent? These are it's very faint, dusty rings that are only visible under certain lighting conditions. You may make them more visible by switching SpaceEngine to the realistic photographic mode. Press the V key or this icon. This is the auto exposure mode. In this mode, SpaceEngine renders Renders celestial objects with physically accurate brightness and attempts to adjust camera sensitivity or exposure automatically. When you look at a dark sky, it sets to a human eye sensitivity. This is probably what we observed at that one point, right? Of looking at something bright and then you look away and the screen takes a second to adjust. It's displayed on the camera toolbar as exposure 1. Okay. However, if you look at a brightly illuminated surface, such as brightly lit terrain, SpaceEngine will reduce exposure to prevent the frame from being overexposed. Look down to see Europa's horizon. Ah, okay. Now you can see the surface clearly, but you can't see any stars simultaneously, just like in real life. Okay, and the exposure has changed. Okay, so that's the phenomenon we were noticing. You may adjust the exposure by applying the compensation. Press and hold the greater than or less than keys, or use the buttons below the exposure value on the camera toolbar. Set, for example, exposure compensation of -2. The exposure compensation is applied on the top of the automatic value computed by SpaceEngine. Its units are equivalent to stops in photography. In other words, changing the exposure time twice. You can also type the desired value of the exposure compensation by clicking its indicator on the camera toolbar. Enter, for example, 1. The slash key and this icon reset the exposure compensation back to 0. Okay. Now look back at Jupiter. As SpaceEngine adjusts Composer, Jupiter reveals its night side, faintly illuminated by its moons. You can look closely by using the camera zoom. Hold the Shift key and the left mouse button, and then slowly drag the mouse vertically. Okay. At this zoom level, you can see a thin ring of Jupiter's atmosphere and aurora near its poles. Okay, I'm not seeing it, but is it because we've got the sun in our eyes? Notice that you can also see more stars. This is because the zoom works like a telescope. Not only approaching objects, but also makes fainter stars visible. This is displayed on the camera, okay, as mag limit. You can adjust the magnitude limit by pressing the bracket keys. For example, set the magnitude limit of 10. Great, now you can see more stars. Okay, that is nice. That's very powerful. It's worth spending some time getting to know that, I guess. The default value of 7 roughly corresponds to the magnitude of the dimmest stars visible to the naked eye in space. However, while observing from Earth's surface, it is reduced to 6 due to light absorption in the atmosphere. Okay. Note that if you enter a value that is too large, this may result in significant load on your computer because SpaceEngine will generate and render millions of stars. Okay, noted. To reset the magnitude limit back to its default value, click this button. Okay. To reset the camera zoom level back to the default value of 45 degrees, press the middle mouse button or click this button on the toolbar. Okay. The auto photographic mode is also great to explore very bright objects such as the sun's surface. Let's go to the sun, select it, and use the go to command. You can see the sunspots and fine details on the sun's surface. They are hard to see in normal photographic mode, or commonly known as HDR mode. In this mode, SpaceEngine uses fake brightness values for different objects to give the scene a more artistic view. Press the V key or the photo mode button on the camera toolbar twice until it changes to HDR. Notice how you can see the sun's surface, corona, and background stars simultaneously in HDR mode. Man, is there any better example of the value of it? Like, what people ask, well, what does HDR mode do exactly? That's a great example. The fact that you can see all those things at once when normally your eyes wouldn't let you do that. Very cool. Among many other extremely bright objects are accretion disks around black holes. One such disk can be found around SS433. You may find it in the locations or load save dialog. Press the F6 key or this icon. We've been here. Scroll the window with the mouse wheel and click the location named Microquasar SS433. Where was that? We saw that when we were looking at stuff before. Ah, there we go. Microquasar SS433. Click the Go To button. Note that the photo mode has been switched to auto again. Each location has its own mode, whichever is the most suitable for it. For this location, the auto mode is the best. It allows the viewing of unbelievably hot gas falling into the black hole. Note how the accretion disk looks bent around the black hole. This is the gravity lensing, the effect of the light deflection, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Move backward by holding the right and left and dragging until you reach a distance of 20,000 kilometers from the black hole. Where do we see the distance? Oh, there we go. 20,000 kilometers. Okay. Here you can see jets of hot plasma being ejected from the inner parts of the accretion disk, as well as the black hole's stellar companion in the background. That's this star here. Notice how the outer parts of the disk look darker or may even look entirely black in some cases. This is because they are much cooler than the hot central parts. You may change the exposure to see them better. Switch to the manual photo mode. Okay. In this mode, SpaceEngine does not adjust exposure automatically. You have full control of the exposure. That's good to know. So increase the exposure compensation to roughly -25. Wow, look at the difference. Oh, that is phenomenal. Outer parts of the disk have a temperature around 3,000 to 4,000 kelvins. A relatively chilling temperature compared to the 50,000 kelvins that the inner parts can reach. Amazing. Yeah, it's a lot of control. Because you think, like, for well, first of all, I think originally it was like -40 or something. Yeah. And so, yeah, that lets you see a lot more detail, but that's not a useful scene for machinima purposes. That's more for study purposes. If we put it back to about what they were recommending, the -25, yeah, that bit of glow there, phenomenal. Now, what if we went into, well, it probably won't let us do that. Will it let us change to HDR? See, that's kind of cool too, right? That's much more cinematic, honestly, even though it's not realistic. But I love that you can still see the background. Okay. You may explore the black hole system by flying around and adjusting exposure. Finally, take a photograph or take a screenshot. To do this, click the icon on the camera toolbar. I mean, let's just take this one. I like it. Done. If you want the interface visible, you can press Control F11, but by default, it does not open with the interface. Let's confirm that. It's a pretty good looking image. I think while we're in here, I want to try with HDR. And then if we kind of like that. Better than seeing that weird thing. It's a little bit too bright, perhaps. Man, this thing's going to be fun to work with. Gotta say. See how that looked. You know, there were some references in the controls list that seem to indicate it does support video capture. You may save this location for future use or share it with friends, blah, blah, blah. And it saves, when you save a location, it saves your camera and exposure settings. That's very handy to know. Like, see, I would want to revisit this red dwarf one, and now that we know how to use these, use these settings properly. You may share by clicking the share button. Yeah, we found that on our own. To import shared locations, copy the code from the website or message. Oh! So like if a couple of us had, I didn't even think about that part of it. It's not just sharing an image. It's actually sharing the location. So someone else who has the software. You could find a location. You could even set the exposure settings, whatever, and then they could open it up in their own thing. That makes collaboration really possible. You could like hire a virtual assistant. You could hire a VA, and their job is to location scout the universe. I would love to see that job description on Upwork.com or something. Must be willing to travel. Let's load some other location. For example, let's go to Pluto. Pluto, New Horizons departure. We saw that in here. There we go. Click the Go To button. Note that the photo mode was changed to HDR because this location was saved in that mode. Okay. This is the point from which New Horizons spacecraft took the famous Pluto crescent image. Zoom until you get the FOV to 1 degree. Or just click and enter it. We're going to do that. We're going to click. Congratulations, you now know how to use the advanced camera options. Okay, I don't see any other references in the tutorial here for video capture. So, let's go back where we looked at settings and controls. And where was that? It was pretty low in the list, I think. It was like F9. Stop me if you see it. Man, I know it was... Oh, there we go. It's, you know, it's right near the bottom. You know, 4 from the top. Same thing. Okay, so video capture settings is F9, and control F9 is to actually do the capture. So we're going to risk crashing the stream by trying this out. So let's go into planetarium. Okay. All right, F9 is the settings. Look at that, MP4 capture. Create folder. I wonder if that's going to put it in the screenshots folder or not, but let's name it something we'll be able to find easily. You can record as screenshots in real time, really? Or record as video file. Frame rate. Let's do without interface. We're going to try having it set graphics to maximum. That could be famous last words. Preset ultra fast, bit rate. Let's just try medium. I don't want to get too crazy here on stream. And we'll just use this YUV codec, YUV format. H.264. On complete. Minimize window, exit to desktop, or explode. Okay. Oh, and there's a... Okay, this is interesting. Run script. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking that is, and we won't have time to dive into this today. There must be a way to script the movements. And then you load it and run it and execute it. That's a whole other stream right there at some point to play with that, because that is phenomenal. Especially if you can do something that's kind of like record a macro within here, and it saves it as a script file that then you can load and re-execute that movement. Oh, that's huge. And then you do it as part of the video capture process, it's even huger. So, all right, so this is start recording, stop, edit camera path. Are you kidding me? This feature, okay, this feature is provided only in the Pro version. Okay, fair enough. You know what? Fair enough. So we'll say no. Does that mean recording is also only part of the Pro version? No. It's actually working. We're recording right now. My mouse movement's very jaggy. More so than when I'm not recording. That's probably to be expected. And looking over here where it saved the screenshots by default, when I did that, it created a capture folder, and then it created a folder that I had designated. And there's the video file. And let's just take a look at the properties of this thing. Okay, it's recording at, I think, at screen resolution. So if I was running this, the reason it's not quite perfect, whatever that HD res is because I'm running it in windowed mode. But I'll bet if I was running it full screen, it would be a proper 16:9 format. About 60 frames a second. That's not a bad data rate at all. Yeah, 62 megabyte file. And fortunately, it saves it to the stream library file, which is what we would want. So if you install this game/tool, be sure to install it on a drive that has plenty of room. Okay, let's open this thing. I think this beginning part was me going, oh, it's working. Yeah, my mouse movement was very jaggy, but if scripting is possible, if it's like some kind of a waypoint system and maybe even applies some interpolation between the points, that has real promise. I'm very curious because in the notes of this game, let's find the pro thing and see what it said. If I remember right, it said something about okay, let's exit out of here. Okay. Let's find the pro version because it says something about what's included in this. And it's $69.99. Okay, changes the SpaceEngine license to allow for personal commercial use and unlocks some professional features for helping capturing video footage and creating space assets for your own projects. I forgot about that. So there's a camera path editor. That's the feature we tried to use and it blocked us. Ability to save video and screenshots with transparency. Hello. Unlimited resolution for exporting skyboxes. Jesus. Unlimited resolution for exporting planet textures. That's less useful, I think. Although, if you did want to render your planets for some reason in iClone, then that texture would be very helpful. Unlimited rendering resolution in the fisheye, dome, and equirectangular. That's a word of the day. Equirectangular projection modes. Unlimited resolution means that SpaceEngine will not restrict you from using any resolution you want, but there are practical limits due to the limitations in your graphics hardware. Yeah. If you have a very recent high-end card, you will be able to use much higher resolutions. For example, 32K by 32K. Then you would be able to achieve with older or low-end hardware 8K by 8K. Still pretty impressive. Yeah, he doesn't say. I may try contacting the developer and see if he could answer some questions. Because, like, yeah, I want to know what does it mean creating space assets for your own projects. Maybe I'm misinterpreting that. I think I'm interpreting that with wishful thinking. Like, my wishful thinking is you could bring FBX models in and create a whole proper space opera in there. I don't think that's what he means. like just thinking it through and looking at the bullets here, there's nothing about importing models. I was assuming that and got really excited for a second. But I think what he's talking about is you can use it to create space assets for your own projects. You can use SpaceEngine to do that. Not that you can bring your own stuff in. But it would be really cool if you could bring in ships or the Death Star or ships especially. There has to be a path for that, right? It's got the options there and there's hardly anything there. So I'm going to reach out to this guy and see if he'll respond to my query and just ask about that aspect of it. And I'll let him know that I'm specifically asking for the pro version. That anybody who's going to do that sophisticated level of stuff, you know, plunking down the extra bucks for that seems reasonable to me. So if he answers, I'll let you know what he says. Or if you've got specific questions you want me to put to him, drop me an email or put it in the comments or something like that. Don't put it in the chat because I'll probably miss it there long term. But if you've got stuff you want me to ask, let me know and I'll reach out to this guy and I say guy, but I don't know. I assume so. But I'll reach out to them and see what's possible. But the sky map thing is huge. I don't know about you guys. I've never been terrifically satisfied with the sky map options in iClone, and I've even bought some packs. But I think it has to do with just how they're rendered in there. But a sky map, if it's a proper HDR cube map, you could bring that into... You could probably bring it directly into Omniverse if you're going to render there, Damien. Or I'm sure you could bring it into Unreal Engine. So even if iClone can't implement it in a way that's satisfying. Although with space backgrounds, it probably does a better job than regular skies. I don't know. I've never been all that jazzed about it. It's certainly better than anything I've ever used before. Like there was no such option in Movie Storm, for example. So it's certainly better than what I've used before, but it's just not quite the level of richness of rendering that we're seeing out of some of the other platforms. So yeah, right. That's my thought. Is Omniverse would do really good with a high quality. And those resolutions that we were kind of laughing about for exporting, well, for a cube map, you want that. You want it to be ridiculous, the resolution. For a sky, especially for a star map, it can't be even just medium res. It'll look awful. Sky maps really have to be, I would think a minimum of 8K to look any good. So the fact that this could potentially render video at 32 by 32, then it could do images really well at that size. So anyway, I am going to wrap it up. Ran a little bit longer than the 6 o'clock point today, but that's fine. I was really enjoying this. It probably would have gone quicker if if I'd started with the tutorial. It wasn't out of stubbornness. I just picked the wrong path through the software. But we got there. And pretty impressive. Pretty impressive tool. The regular SpaceEngine is, it's $30. If that's an unpleasant amount, then just watch it for specials. Just about everything goes on special on Steam at some point. But yeah, I'm very very impressed with it. And yeah, I do have a sci-fi project or two. They're deep horizon, but they are there. So yeah, I think this will be really useful. And tutorials are cheating. That's right. That's right. So yeah, it's a pretty handy tool. So I know you guys both produce some sci-fi stuff, so I hope it's been an interesting look at something. And thanks for spending the afternoon with me. And we'll see you at the next stream. I should be back on Tuesday. So have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you next time.